Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. So we'll jump right in here. We have a guest speaker, DC, to talk about some product and some software here. And then before that, we've got some marketing updates and then some info you may be able to use with your clients or prospects. So first thing is last week's 5Q tape breakdown. In this 10-second tape clip, we learned you have to start out the meeting on the right foot. If you don't, you're setting up a defensive meeting, and we don't want a defensive meeting. So you know, the best way to overcome objections is what? What's the best way to overcome objections? Anybody? Head them off. That's right, Nick. Never have them. So the whole 21-point checklist script, the whole first meeting, setting the tone script that is set up so that if you do it right, if you follow the directions, you're not going to get objections, because we know what the objections are over the last 20 years. We've designed these scripts to eliminate those. But if you do get those objections, we have ways to handle that. But do it right, you won't have to deal with that. So first thing I want to talk about is this is something you all know, but this is more information or more specific information I think that you could share with your clients. So health expenses above and beyond Medicare. That means the cost of Medicare Part B, D, dental care, and vision care. And this does not include long-term care. So this is right out of Money Magazine or on their website. It was Kiplinger's who bought Money Magazine, who now had it on their website. So a couple's healthcare costs mount over time. So a 65-year-old couple is $11,752. So is that for the rest of their lives or just that year above and beyond what the Medicare pays? As just that year, annually, exactly. By the time they reach 70, they're looking at an additional almost $16,000 in just medical costs. 75 years old, it jumps to $20,000. 80 years old, $25,000. 85-year-olds, $32,000. So here's the thing. The adage used to be that as we got older, we spend less overall, not just healthcare, but our budgeting, the amount we spend on a yearly basis for everything from entertainment to housing to food to everything else should go down as we age, right? Is that going to happen going forward? Unless there's a huge overhaul of the healthcare system, is that going to happen going forward? So anything that you save because you're not traveling as much, because you're not eating out as much, is going to be gobbled up by what? Healthcare costs. So make sure your clients are aware of this. And even a year or two of long-term care could do what to somebody's finances? Even just a year or two, what could that do? Yeah, it could decimate it. So make sure you're covering healthcare. If you're not covering healthcare, including all the documents, healthcare documents that we give, make sure people have with their advanced care directive, with their having the power of attorney in place and things like that. The additional thing is you need to make sure they understand the cost. Because would this be surprising to an awful lot of people? I mean, they complain about dental care, they complain about vision care, they complain about these things, but do they ever sit down and think, holy cow, this is how much money I'm actually going to have to spend? Do you think most people realize that? No. So make sure we're covering these things, okay? Next thing is just a reminder. This is right out of a Vanguard. They spent a lot of money to do this research, and they did it for Richard Investment Advisors. But they did research on why is it that people leave their current advisors? What do clients expect from their advisors? And we see the mass affluent is the top one, this bright teal. High net worth. So mass affluent is $10 million or more. $10 million or more. High net worth is $1 million to $10 million. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Ultra high net worth is $10 million or more. High net worth is $1 million to $10 million, and mass affluent is $250 to $1 million. So they broke it down into two different things: personality service levels, performance portfolio. So which one are people more concerned with? Portfolio, just by a glance at this, portfolio or their personality relationship? Yeah, personal, that's right. So we look at 65% versus portfolio performance It's 39%. And where do most advisors spend their time trying to improve? Where do most advisors spend all their time trying to improve? Yeah, the portfolio. And do they have any control over that? Do we have any control over how our portfolio is going to do? None. Do we have control over how we react or relate personally with our clients? Yes, we do. So here's some of the things that they pointed out. They said, advisor neglected relationship. So mass affluent, 18%, 22% for the people with $1 million to $10 million. Guys, can you believe that? Neglecting 22%, 1 out of 5 are being neglected when they have a net worth of $1 million to $10 million. That's crazy. Even 1 out of 4 is being neglected, a high net worth. If you had a client with over $10 million, would you be neglecting them? That's crazy. Now, part of it is, what do you think the expectations are of somebody with $10 million or more is compared to somebody with $250 to $1 million? Probably higher. So that's probably reflected in there as well. Not proactive with recommendations or opportunities. Who should be calling who? You should be calling them, or they should be calling you? You should be reaching out to them, or they should be reaching out to you. I sense an ulterior motive pushing certain stocks. Transferred me to another member of their team. Didn't fully understand my goals or needs. Look at that, ultra high net worth. 20% of them said that the guy didn't understand their needs. Because what do you think the advisor thought the ultra high net worth needs were? What do you think the advisors were thinking their ultra high net worth needs were? Performance, that's right. Performance. Somebody with the $10 million or more, are they really worried about performance? Or, they're worried about running out of money? Are they worried about squeezing an extra 1% out of their portfolio? No, they got lots of other issues. Not available when I needed to, doesn't return phone calls. That's only 10%, but even 10%, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. Now, here's the great thing. If you have 300 people on your warm list, that means how many of them are vulnerable? If you have 300 people on your warm list, how many of those people are vulnerable to moving to you? How many of them are vulnerable with their current? 300 maybe, but I would say closer to what? 20% of that 300. So what's 20% of 300? Very good. Somebody's got it. 60. Who was it? Mark. Very good. 60. Yeah. So about 60 of that 300 are vulnerable because they will leave for these things. If you do these things, if you drip on them with epidemic marketing, if you're constantly giving them good information, if you're talking about the non-financial things, are they going to be at risk of moving? That 60 people, are they at risk of moving? Yes. And who are they going to move to? You. And how much does it cost for you to drip on them? Per month. How much does it cost per month? 60 cents, because you're sending out do we send out the epidemic marketing via email or via mail? Email or U.S. Postal Service? Postal Service, right, snail mail. So it's going to cost you about 60 cents. So what's 60 cents over a year then? 60 cents over a year is what? Less than $8, right? $7.20. Less than $8. So how many people should you be sending out the epidemic marketing to every single month? That's money well spent. That's right. Money well spent, Gerard. So we shouldn't be worried. Obviously, we don't want to have poor investments. We don't want. Look at this. Poor response to market downturn. That should be where? Down here or up here? That should be up here. Underperforming key index is 10%, 20% for ultra high net worth. Returns lower than my peers. Again, down. Look at how tiny this is compared to this. Advisor moved to new firm. Look at that. 1 in 4 moved to a new firm with assets between $250 to $1 million. 1 in 5 with assets $1 million to $10 million, and close to 1 in 5 for ultra high net worth. So these people use epidemic marketing to constantly, and the more times you reach out to these people, with non-financial, value-added, helpful contacts, the more you're going to harvest. So it is money well spent. Thank you, Gerard. So Vanguard said highly trusted advisor, personalized financial planning, asset wealth management service, behavioral and life coaching, deeper relationship, client loyalty and trust, and asset retention and referrals. These are the things. So there's only one that deals, one out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of them deals with actually pursuing, 1 out of 6. So about 16% of your time should be spent trying to get higher rates of return. So next thing I want to talk about is about where we're at with marketing. So Mitzi's going to kind of go through, since she's got her fingers on the pulse of what's happening with everybody in the marketing, and also she runs all of our experiments we've been running for the last 6 months on marketing.
Okay, perfect.
So I think she's going to get in here.
Yep, I'm just getting this swapped over here, so sorry. Okay, so you guys should hopefully, oopsies, I need to go ahead here a little bit. Okay, so we've talked, thanks Mike, we've talked a bit over the last few months about different tests and systems that 5Q's been working on. So I'm just gonna go through a quick little update here, and Mike and Jeff, feel free to jump in if there's anything that you would think that I've missed. So first thing, I think we can all agree that come the beginning of next year, we're going to be looking at 2 different options to everything that's going on. So world number 1 is either things are going to be back to normal, or at least well on their way back to normal, and you can go about getting back in front of appointments face to face and doing all of the things that you used to do. Or the second world is that things are still going to be locked down to one extent or another, and people aren't going to be willing to go back into libraries and restaurants, in which case we need to figure out a different way to connect with people in different ways. So of course, that's the $1 million question. How do you get appointments in a digital world? If we end up in world 1, where things are kind of going back to normal, we don't really need to answer that question, although I guess it would still be helpful for all of us to know that. But if we're in world number 2, where we're forced to have to go back to a digital world, then that answer to that question is absolutely essential in order for you guys to have success, and ultimately in order for us to have success. And someone just pointed out that personally, yeah, we do need to prepare to do both, and that's a very valid point. So being able to switch between would be doubly helpful. So that's what we've been working on, and that's what we've been trying to find the answer to that question for the last several months. And we kind of feel like it's been a little bit like being on a scavenger hunt. So where we find a clue that leads us to another clue, that leads us to another clue, until finally we feel like we're getting to that answer. And a lot of you have actually helped us along the way figure out this kind of path of discovery, where you've helped us test things like mass emails or drip sequences, mailers that have the handwritten notes on them. And while each one of those things have led us to a level of success in the form of web page visits and views and likes, none of them have produced our ultimate guide to success, which is getting appointments booked on your calendar. And all of these things have added to the clues that have brought us down this particular path. But through all of those clues, we do feel like we're getting close. So everything we've done so far has led us down a path to a proprietary group of people that use social media to build structured campaigns and include Facebook ads and landing pages and drip sequences, all of those things all connected together. And we continually are retargeting people that express interest, and more importantly, get them to book live appointments. So it's exciting in that we feel like we're in the midst of building a playbook to kind of create this set it and forget it mentality digital program that's going to get you in front of qualified prospects. Now, 5Q has been paying for and has been working with this team to build something that you guys can just plug into. So as with everything, it has been, taking time as we've learned more and more. And now, of course, it's mid-October, and we're heading into holiday season and when things are kind of starting to naturally quiet down, because prospects are focusing more on, on Thanksgiving and Christmas. But that to us means if we can make it work during these traditionally very slow months, we feel like by the time we hit January 1st and we can be off and running, we're ready to go and have really aligned ourselves into being able to take off in next year, with a really good program ready for you guys to plug into. So now that being said, there are still, for those of you that are ready and looking, Matt has a few ideas of things that have been working moderately well over the past month. And if you are looking for the marketing right now, and like I said, we'll continually kind of update things here as we get closer to January. But the set it and forget it plug-in system is kind of going to be more like ready in January. But if you're looking for something right now, which of course it's not a bad time to market, there's not a lot of competition going on, and the people that have been out there willing to try it over the course of the past month have been seeing some success. So feel free to give Matt a call and he can get you on track for doing something right away. Otherwise, that's kind of what path we're on right now. And I know it's been a long path for some of you. You feel like it's, kind of taking longer, but like we said before, we've gone through the easy things. Now we're on to something that was going to have to take a little bit longer, and that's where we're at.
But I will add that we're finally seeing some daylight. For months and months and months, nothing was working. Nothing was working for us or any of our competitors that we've been following. Like I said, we have our octopus tentacles into a lot of other marketing organizations, knowing what they're doing and what's working, what's not working. Nothing has been working up to this point, but in the last month or so, we're finally starting to see some cracks and things are starting to work. I think what's happened is people, the public froze. They didn't want to do anything digitally. They didn't want to do anything face-to-face. They froze, but eventually they decided what? What did the public decide after months of not going to seminars, not going to the digital stuff? They said, what? I guess we're going to have to change how we're getting our information as well. So we're finally starting to see some sunlight. But of course, the way life works, we're starting to see that sunlight at the very time when we're going into the holidays. Now, the nice thing about digital is that digital does work during the holidays, and it's not going to work quite as well, but it does work somewhat during the holidays, where you don't want to be doing seminars during the holidays. Not that we would want to do those right now anyways. But so finally, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. How much will determine in the next couple of months, but we have seen no light at the end of the tunnel for months. So that we finally see some positive marketing possibilities going forward. So we'll let you know as we continue to go through that over the next few months. Hopefully we're up and running by January. So thanks, Missy, and then we're going to turn it back to you, Missy.
Yeah, perfect. So let's see, I'm going to just get this back over to Andrew. So Andrew is going to go through with ECA marketing. He's Life Marketer here. That's going to just take you through a couple of tools that he has available for you.
All right, thanks, Missy. Good morning, everybody. 5Q just wanted me to jump on and give a few ideas, sales ideas or quick things to pick up business, whether it be referral based or something that you're working on. With everything going on right now, people are being reminded of, what could really happen on a day-to-day. So life insurance has been a bigger conversation, and I've had more and more people say that they've done more life insurance than they've ever done before. What I wanted to go through is the term quoter on our website, to where if it happens to come up, you can just jump on, run it quick, and then we'll go through the e-app process, to where if they don't want to meet face-to-face, you can do everything electronically. And give that responsibility of health questions and, you know, going through the full application, pass that off to the carrier. So, you know, you don't have to go through paper app, go through all the questions, and go through all that. The other is going to be a single premium life idea for the clients 60 to 70 that have money sitting in the bank that we could reposition, leverage up, pass it on tax-free to beneficiaries, and then we can have a chronic illness rider on there that can help supplement if they need care costs. So first things first, we will go through, like I said, go through the term quoter. If it happens to come up, you know, we don't want to leave that business on the table. You can pick it up, do everything automated, everything on an e-app process to be able to provide that benefit to your clients, again, if they're asking for it. So what you're going to do is you'll go to ecamarketing.com. We will log in to your platform here. Maybe. Oh, sorry guys. There we go. So then you'll go to the submitting business. You'll go to term life quote, and it'll redirect you. If you don't have an iPipeline password login, you'll have to create one, and then you can get in. And then from here, you'll be able to, again, if you're screen sharing with them, you're sitting in front of them, you'll be able to do the quote right there for them. Obviously, it's depending on underwriting, you know, what they can get approved for. But again, it's an opportunity that if they're asking for it, we can get it taken care of. You can get everything pushed off to the carrier as far as health questions, not have to worry about that, and get it moving through the process. So even so, say if you have we have a 50-year-old male looking for some term, whether it be mortgage protection or if it's something that they just want to lock in their health rate right now, that's a conversation that you can have with them, whether it be a year down the road, 2 years down the road, to be able to convert the policy to a permanent product, whether it be a GUL or a cash value life insurance policy. You know, for guys that don't do a lot of life insurance, it's a way to, you know, dip your toes in the water and then move along further, get into a permanent opportunity, but then they don't have to go through the underwriting process again, you know, so we have that health locked in. So if we're looking at this, say they're looking just, again, 250,000, pretty healthy. You can put in their health. You can do their height and weight. Otherwise, if they do have health concerns, I know for those of you that have worked with Ben Rowe, we do have an on-staff underwriter that we can run him through and see, you know, what is going to be the best carrier to go with. So super easy. Then you can go through if they want to pay monthly, annually, and then it populates all the carriers that we work with on the life insurance side. And then from here, if you have somebody that is looking to then move forward, like I said, you can just start the application process right here. Drop ticket, that's the one I mentioned, that if you don't want to go through the health questions, whether it be the time to do it or you just rather have somebody go through that information for them, we're going to want to do that drop ticket process right here. And so for the drop ticket, so it'll redirect you, and then from here, it's going to be very basic information. You'll fill out their age, just put in some information, and then it's just going to be very basic. It's going to be beneficiary information, name, address, and then it might ask one or two health questions, whether it be, you know, have they been diagnosed with cancer. Diabetes is typically another one, but it's not going to be the 2-3 pages of health questions that you typically see on a paper app. So it's a very streamlined, you can get it done 10-15 minutes, and then everything will be directed back to our office, where we will then set up if they need a health, if they need exam, labs, we will schedule that, go after medical records if needed. But again, it's just a way for you guys to be able to streamline this business if it happens to come up. But again, if they're asking for it, not leaving it on the table, something that we can take and then, again, could become a conversion later on now that they have the health locked in. Maybe they don't have the investable assets right now, but later on down the road, something that they want to lock in. You know, and again, term, another opportunity is some like North American, do offer living benefits. So if you do have, a 30 to 40-year-old, that's another bonus that you could add on. It might be a little more expensive, but they do have a chronic and critical illness on their term policies that if something happens, if they were to happen to get sick, it's an opportunity that, again, you can provide that benefit to them and be able to go up and above than just spreadsheeting your typical term. So that's just something to, again, keep in the back of your mind. And if you do have questions as far as who has what riders, obviously you can call your life marketer and we'll be able to get that taken care of. One more step, you could even click on it and it is going to give you the conversion options, how long they're going to be able to convert to what products. Each carrier has a different time frame on how long and what products they can convert to. And then it's going to be which carrier has the better products on the shelf, again, at least right now, to be able to convert. Some are better than others, depending on what type of product it is that they are looking for. So just, again, an opportunity, streamline it, get it off to them, and then we will handle, if we need exams, like in this particular, there might be accelerated underwriting options where we don't need exams, won't need the medical records. So that will go through, again, a streamlined process rather than having to fill out the app, scan it, email it, take care of all that. So that is a process. Again, like I said, if it comes up, you guys can take care of it. And I can send an email out to everybody just for the steps to be able to get back in, again, to the term quoter, go through everything, and go through the apply now process. So that is an opportunity. That's one opportunity. If it comes up, you can take advantage of it. Again, whether it's you do a lot of life insurance, and again, just capturing that business, or if you don't, it's an easy entry-level way to, again, dip your toe in the water, start going through the process while you're handling your other business. So now we have an opportunity here. We'll pull this up. And this is with Sagicor and their single premium life. This is going to be a very similar product to the National Western Equitrust for those of you that work with them. It's just something for to be on the lookout if they have money sitting in the bank that you would rather reposition it so that they can leverage it up rather than not earning close to anything on it, leverage it up, and then you're going to have a tax-free benefit that is passed to beneficiaries or a care cost if needed. So this one is a 65-year-old male, and each one of these, both Sagicor and National Western, are a simplified underwriting process. So it's going to be just the application and a phone interview, typically about 15 to 25 minutes, depending on the client. And then they will pull MIB and prescription checks. So they'll do the checks through that. But it's an opportunity, 65-year-old, and then it does say preferred, but it will go down to, this includes down to a table 4. So we do have some leniency for underwriting purposes with the simplified underwriting. But again, it's an opportunity that you can take your $50,000 and then you can leverage it up to $83,000 and change. And that's going to be passed completely tax-free to the beneficiaries if they don't need it. Again, this is just a rainy day fund, but they do have 100% return of premium. So they're completely liquid. If they need to access it at any time, they can get that money back and they can reposition it. It is on a guaranteed indexed UL chassis. So there's a guarantee to 121. There is an index, otherwise we could go a fixed option. So just showing here on the guaranteed assumptions, we do go all the way out to 121 on that side. Some growth potential on the non-guaranteed side. But again, it's more so like I said, the rainy day fund that you can take, reposition, leverage it up for a tax-free benefit. And then along with that comes a chronic illness rider that they can accelerate that death benefit for care costs if needed. So that's the trigger of the can't perform 2 of 6 ADLs, severely cognitively impaired. They'll be able to accelerate that tax-free rather than just sitting in the bank and they're spending that dollar for dollar. So that is the single premium. And in my opinion, I do like Sagicor just because in comparison to the National Western, they include their chronic illness rider in, so it's not something that you have to add, to where the National Western, you can add it on, but it does take it down on the death benefit a little bit more. Sagicor is only an e-app process that we have to do through their website. But again, if you do need help with that, we can get illustrations put together for you. We can help you through the process, whether it be a screen share, get our internal at Sagicor, however we need to do to get that taken care of. Like I said, or National Western is a very similar product in that as well. Let's see here. So yeah, so again, full liquidity, cash surrenders, see 100% return of premium if they need to get it. So it's not one of those where, I'm going to position my money over here and it's going to be locked up. They do have access to it. Again, leverage it up, tax-free death benefit, chronic illness rider on it, simplified underwriting, and then can help with that care cost. Let's see. So that, and it does, I think it's a 10% commission as well. So that's a good commission on that. So from there, and then Mike, Missy, I don't know if there's questions on that. I know I went through getting through or to the term rider or the term quoter pretty quick. I don't know. I can't see any questions if there was any. Let's see here.
Hey, can I jump in with a comment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please, Jeff. Yeah. I get a lot of cases like people will send me Morningstars, and it turns out that the client has all their money in cash, so I end up telling you, hey, there's really nothing we can look up. I'm seeing a little bit more of that lately because I think you're going back to clients that have a lot of cash.
Mm-hmm.
And so the general rule of thumb with people with cash is you want to know, why do you have so much cash?
Right.
They're going to tell you one of two things, either I'm kind of nervous about the market with the election coming up, and so I got out of the market and I just moved everything to cash while I'm kind of looking around for what to do. Well, that's a perfect investment client. I would take them down the normal 21-point checklist track because they just don't know what to do. They're looking for something better. They want to get back in. They just don't know how. But I'll tell you that when you ask people that question, most of the time, probably 3/4 of the time, what they end up saying is something like, oh, well, that's just what I've always done. I always keep that much cash. I just feel more comfortable there. It's what I've been doing. Well, that's a very, very difficult client to move. But this is a perfect product for that. So if you're wondering, well, what do I do for that person? I'll tell you right now, when you send these cases to me, they have way more than $50,000 in cash. So to peel off and maybe more, but to peel off at least $50,000 for something like this, when they're not earning anything in the bank anyway, is something that I think most people would do. I think if you've got clients like that, and I know a lot of you do, this is perfect for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one of our advisors actually, that's their primary product that they sell is that. So thanks for bringing that up, Jeff. What were you going to say, Andrew?
I was just going to say that, and it covers the basis on that as well. It maintains their liquidity because they don't want to, again, they have that apprehension of, I don't want to lock my money up, or what happens if I need the money. So it, like I said, the full return of premium or surrender if they need it. So it helps with that, and you can give that bonus of that chronic illness rider, has some growth potential. So it's almost like the Swiss Army knife of life insurance, if you would, and again, is a simplified underwriting, so they don't have to worry about the blood urine if they don't want, that can be an objection that you might see with some people, especially with everything going on right now. So it's a simplified underwriting, no blood, no urine, just a phone interview, application, and then, like Jeff said, you can reposition, even if it's a portion of that money, again, leverage that up tax-free, and it's an opportunity to take care of them in that aspect. I guess I did want to circle around. Sorry, go ahead.
The last thing I would add there is, just like Andrew said, it's a perfect thing for that kind of money. If you've ever tried to pitch that person an annuity, you'll know that is an uphill battle. They do not want annuities because they like the flexibility of cash.
They don't want to lock their money up, and that's what they think. So this is way easier than an annuity to sell. This is those one time where I would say this life insurance thing is way easier than trying to push an annuity in that instance.
And how much are they missing in their cash account, Jeff, interest-wise?
0.75%, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good interest rate.
So yeah,
you're going to add something to that.
Everybody that's done that, I think, I know there's some guys that's just all they do with cash clients, and they have quite a bit of success. To be honest with you, when people run into these clients and they're like, well, I'll just take them through the 21, and they have no success. So I really think this is for that person. And I'm seeing more and more of those right now.
Absolutely.
And Andrew, you had something else to add there?
I was just going to say the last thing that I did want to circle around, just in the fact of the underwriting that I had mentioned, with everything going on, if you were to, again, get into a term case, GUL case, whatever that may be, a concern is for the blood and urine, and having somebody come into their house. So it is an opportunity that carriers have become more lenient with their underwriting processes and trying to push more and more through accelerated underwriting. There is some instances where we can push a little bit and they can take a doctor visit within the last year if they've had a full blood workup. But again, it is an opportunity that with accelerated underwriting, they may not need the blood and urine, but if they do, they will call and do a preemptive interview. How have you been feeling? People around you been feeling? All of that to make sure that everybody does feel safe, comfortable, if they happen to need that exam, and be able to get that taken care of for them. So again, accelerated underwriting with some carriers. You can look on the term quoter. They will give it right there. If you need guidelines as far as face amounts, ages, again, your life marketer can get that taken care of for you to be able to get those cases moving forward. So.
Julio, any other questions, concerns, guys? John says the free physical. Any other questions or concerns? All right. Well, Andrew, thanks for coming in and giving us kind of shaking the tree and having us think of things differently. Jeff, that your point is awesome because there's so much of that sitting around right now, and this is such an easy sale with the liquidity portion of their portfolio because it gives them lots of benefits, no downside. So terrific. Then we will end the call a little bit early and get you guys on your way for the week. Thanks everybody for being with 5Q, and you have a great week. We'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks everybody.
Thanks.